Hey guys, what's up? Jets fans, what's going on, man? Welcome to Sports Talk with me, Rical. I hope you're having a blessed day. It's Friday. It's a great day. Anyway, man, with Tyrod Taylor, with Justin Fields out with a concussion, and he had a 1.1 QBR rating with the Bills. One of the worst performances I've ever seen. Uh, um, Again, seeing Justin Fields in practice, you you expect these type of things. But anyway, Tyrod Taylor's who's a career proven quarterback. Yes, he's been a journeyman. He's been on a lot of teams. But one thing you can say is seeing him when Aaron Rodgers was here last year, coming in games, there was a spark, some energy. He is a threat to run the ball, but also he can sling the ball. He can throw the ball. So the Jets don't have with the exception of Garrett Wilson, the Jets don't have another receiver that can take the top off. I'm waiting for Aaron Smith to step up to do that. At the same time, is it a rebuilding mode? For the Jets. What are we doing? What is our identity? You know what I mean? What is our identity? I was talking to a buddy of mine that says, "Hey, we are in a rebuilding mode with the Jets." I look at when Aaron Glenn and the Darren Muji came in. Preferably, let's focus on the head coach, for example, not so much the GM. When Aaron Glenn came in, seeing the Detroit Lions, when you look at the defense, the discipline, the violence that I saw from that team, Aaron Glenn came in with that bravado, similar to Rex Ryan, similar to Rex Ryan, and I see some stuff, there's a few similarity where Robert Saleh went the all gas no brake crap, and I didn't see any of that with him, Robert Saleh. That is, there's a lot of talk. Usually, when people come join an organization, when they don't have any leg to stand on, when they don't know what they're doing, the resume doesn't match. They tend to throw out a whole bunch of scheme, bunch of rhetoric, stuff. We're gonna do this or that, whatever. There's a lot of people that can read things, right? They can read, and trust me, I've seen a lot of people like that, man. In my time, I'm 47. I've been doing this for a long time in business, whatever. There's a lot of people who can talk their way through. There's a lot of people who can say, and the resume look good. Oh, I have this, that, whatever. But when it comes to actually putting the work and showing the stuff, it doesn't translate. Man, it doesn't translate. So those are the things that you look at. Not just not a player, but I'm saying overall business, overall head coaches, supervisors, managers, whatever. The people who can talk, the people who can, they're not able to, they can articulate certain things, but when it's time to put it together, when you say show me, they can't. They're fooled. I've had people like that, and Aaron Glenn came in with a lot of talk, but so far, we in week 3, we're about to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's Todd Bowles' defense looking crazy. I didn't see that same defense here when he was a head coach with the Jets. He looked lost. You know what I mean? He looked lost. But what I'm saying is, Aaron Glenn, the Jets does not look disciplined. The New York Jets look all over the place. Players do whatever they want. It's the same. What I'm watching the same thing I saw with Robert Saleh. I'm saying to myself, which one are we getting here? Well, are we getting an all gas no break type coach who this is all gas no break and nothing else? or we get in a coach that said we're gonna be violent, all this stuff, whatever. I'm not seeing it. The defense does not look disciplined. Players are running all over the place. Special team offense, all that stuff. Yes, you made an example. Aaron Glenn made an example of Gibson to get rid of him. To myself, there were better players that should have made the team instead of Gibson. But hey, you stick with him. But I don't know why. People are calling for Clemens to be gone. But now you let go of Clemens, what do you have? They just don't have players. And to be fair to Darren Muji, to be fair to Aaron Glenn, they inherited that mess. Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh didn't have players. Joe Douglas was just trading picks, trading stuff for Joe Douglas and them, wasn't keeping talent. When it's time to pay people, he wasn't doing that. You let people go, whatever. We had a good cornerback. You know what I mean? We had three of the best cornerback in the game last year, but then you elected to trade a player to go to Detroit for $1 million, more. Well, we could have paid. We could have done that. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't want to give blame to Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji so much because they inherited this mess we have right now. So for fans who's calling for Clemens, yes, Clemens made a bonehead play. He haven't done anything. You know what I mean? It's a defensive lineman who hasn't done anything. Yeah, he made a bonehead play, but that play alone wasn't the reason why we lost the game. We couldn't score points. We couldn't do anything. Offense, defense, special team. And I was expecting the defense to be better than what it is. Now, looking at the Jets defense, you have Steve Wilkes, who's supposed to be a defensive mastermind. Aaron Glenn, same thing. In 2 games, the opposing offense, I've scored 64 points on the Jets. You know what I mean? So teams have scored points on the Jets, and watching Justin Fields putting up 1.1 QBR rating or whatever, we look bad. We look bad as a team. You know what I mean? Hey, first of all, before I continue, man, let me give a shout out to Alonzo Mourning. Alonzo Mourning is a good dude, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to his family. Shout out to his camp. I met Alonzo Mourning a few times. You probably don't remember, but I think I was in Miami at a restaurant. But anyway, he's a great dude. Shout out to him. Alonzo Mourning has built a $37 million senior living complex in Florida, called Astoria, with 120 apartment, and rent, vary from $322 to $1,300 in that complex. So you gotta give credit to him for what he's doing. Shout out to him. You have to give credit to people like that. And so shout out to Alonzo Mourning putting up his money, spending the $37 million to do this, man. So shout out to him. I want to give a shout out to Christian Bell as well. Building homes. There's a lot of kids, in the foster care, right? A lot of kids, a lot of parents, probably they don't have anybody, and sometimes they separate the siblings, because sometimes, as a family, if you taking on kids, sometimes, your stuff is not together. You don't have enough to say, hey, yeah, you don't have the space, or maybe not just the space or the capability, because childcare is expensive, to say, hey, I'm going to take 2 kids, or I'm going to take 3 kids. Sometimes you don't have the luxury, and then they siblings, and you don't have the luxury to say, I'm going to, your financial situation is not, I have 6 kids. As a father, My wife can tell you that, you know, living, not just living in Pennsylvania, living in America, period. So Pennsylvania not alone, because it doesn't matter if you live in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, wherever you live, daycare is not cheap. Unless if you live in the if you live in a city, if you live in if you're low income, it's you could get a lot of help with those systems. But if you're not in low income, if you live in a suburb, whatever it is, childcare is expensive. So I think that what we pay per child is a mortgage. But I'm not even gonna go through all that. But it's not. What I'm saying is it costs a lot of money. So I want to give a shout out to Christian Bell for building homes to be able to take kids, to not separate kids when they go into be to the foster care. I mean, it's Friday. I don't know. I stutter sometimes too when I'm nervous. I'm on camera. I know that no one's watching me right now, but I know, this is gonna be posted, so I'm always nervous. But anyway, so shout out to Christian Bell for doing that, for making sure that to have to build the home, spend his money. Yes, he has some partners, he has some people, but still, shout out to him to make sure that these homes are available. So when these kids are going to the foster care system, they're not separated. They can stay in the same home. Is it like that in everywhere in every state? No, it's not. It's unfortunate, but I'm saying, as a father, as a parent, with multiple kids, so I know how it is when it's time to put your kids in daycare, and I know if you don't have the means, it's difficult. So those people who can only take one, and sometimes it sucks when you have to separate. So it is tough. And so shout out to him. But anyway, man, there's more shout out I'll give, but eventually. But like I said, Tyler Taylor's starting with 16. So I'm excited to see him coming in. What he's gonna do, how he's gonna step up. Man. I want to see. I think that the team gonna respond a lot better with Tyler Taylor, because his ability, to throw those deep bombs. So this is where Aaron Smith will flourish with Tyler Taylor, because now you're allowing him to just run up, and then you throw the bomb to him. So that will be able to take the top of the defense. So the defense can step up a little bit and say, hey, we can't let this guy just run all over. Now you forced to are you gonna double up Garrett Wilson, right? You're gonna leave Aaron Smith one-on-one, and where Tyler Taylor will be able to get given the ball. Now the offensive line have to step up to hold for Tyler Taylor to be able to be successful. And I believe that they'll be able to do that. The offensive coordinator have created. I watched in 2 games. Was it the quarterback? Was it the players? And I watched film. What I saw, there were a lot of plays on every snaps. Players, the receivers were open. The offensive coordinator create his system, make sure the receivers are open. But it just, getting the ball out, so I think which is where Tyler Taylor coming in will be a lot better than Justin Fields. And it's unfortunate again, for him, he's in concussion protocol. I think that, Tyler Taylor come out, on Sunday, beat the Bucs, play well. Not just beat the Bucs, but play well. You give him another week. You know what I mean? Tyler Taylor, of course, he did a great job with the Giants. He did a great job in Buffalo, taking them to the playoffs. So, are we able to see? Do you keep Tyler Taylor? Do you let him run the team the way he should? You know what I mean? So I think that it's gonna be a big quarterback controversy to if Tyler Taylor come in and perform well. you give him another week. You let Justin Field rest a little bit, and then you do that. You don't want to mess up what you have, but you see, hey, you don't want a situation where we win in 4 games straight, and you keep Tyler Taylor in, and then Justin Fields slighted, and then you start losing it, to go back to him. So I don't know, but I do think that you give Tyler Taylor at least 2 games to prove that he belongs here. So are we in the rebuilding mode? Is it but the team has to be disciplined. So that's what I'm saying, man. Hey, I mentioned the whole Kawhi Leonard thing before. If you look on the channel, you can see that on my channel. Kawhi Leonard, his uncle, Dennis Robinson, of course, made an offer to to the Clippers he wanted plane, he wanted this, he wanted that, man. Sometimes, yes, when you're negotiating, you can do whatever you want. But sometimes too, a lot of those guys, sometimes you can't have too many voices in the room making decisions. So that's gonna be a tough call for a lot of people. Because you look at that situation, it is a tough situation for the Clipper ownership. You know what I mean? When they're looking at it, I don't think it's just the Clippers who's done that. Many teams find ways to give you money outside of what the contract is, because when they want the player, they're gonna do whatever it is. So it's just unfortunate that but this is business. You know what I mean? This is business. So let me say this, man. I bet I watched many times. Stephen A. Smith is a clown. Stephen A. Smith is a clown. So the whole Molly situation, tough. I know negotiation was tough. She was gonna leave at the end of the season, but she decided, hey, stuff not going anywhere. It's time for me to be out. There's more stuff to it. I'm not gonna talk about it. I don't want to just, I could say allegedly, but I'm just not gonna talk about that. I'm gonna, shout out to you, Molly. Molly Curran was amazing. I'm gonna leave it as that. I'm gonna leave it at that. Anyway, man, I watch 3 players left the Giants, and they have success elsewhere. Xavier McKinney, career high in interception, right? At Green Bay. Saquon Barkley, career high, 125.31 yards, rushing yards. Daniel Jones, career high pass, 294 yards. So I watched Daniel Jones, I watched Saquon Barkley, Xavier McKinney leave the New York Giants and go elsewhere to be successful. So you got to give credit to you got to say, is it is it player or schematics? I think it's schematics. When you look at it, that's why I told you, man. Brian Davis is on the hot seat. You know what I mean? Just like McDaniel on the hot seat. McDaniel's trying to making sure the Dolphins fire him. McDaniel's making sure, because the Dolphins usually, if you look at the track record, every coach they fired, they always wait to a bye week, after a bye week, to fire them. The Dolphins don't have a bye week until week 8? Until week 8, they don't have a bye week until week 8. So they're not. So McDaniel's doing. You see him at the podium, the way what he's saying. He wants them to fire him because he's done. He's tired. He's tired of the whole organization. He wants to move on. He's handicapped. He's not getting the players. He's not getting. He's tired. So hey. Anyway, Deshaun Jackson, Delaware State, they're 2-1. And he already surpassed the win totals from so he's already won. He's done so much for them already, man. So shout out to him. 2-1 record. He already surpassed the win total last year already. So we'll see what happens, man. Anyway, man, sports talk. Like, subscribe, and share. Peace out.